Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is Marvel Value Stamps, a visual history with an opening by Roy Thomas. Now, this is a really interesting book, not just full of an amazing art from Marvel Comics, but diving into the history of the infamous Marvel stamps. So the basic story is in 1974, Stan Lee came up with this idea, and the idea was to add stamps to comics, and you'd go cut the stamps out. You get spend money to get a stamp book from Marvel. It was like 50 cents, and then you put the stamps in, and then you got something for it. They didn't really know what they were going to give away to start with. That's part of the story that Thomas goes through. And then they did a second round of it, and it's a lot of stamps. It's like 100 stamps, I think, per thing. Yeah, so it's 100 stamps for the first one, and then another 100 for the second. There was also a UK version of it that went before. This is a thing of legend, because if you really think about it, is what does this do? Is like, one, it dives into the whole collecting aspects of comics, right? Like, you want to collect the stamps, you want to get the stamps on the stamp book, but that also means you need to go get all these comics, 100 comics basically, or whatever the number would be, and then you'd have to cut them out, which means you'd have to ruin your comics. So that's a whole thing. Then there's questions on like getting the stamp book itself. Is like, could you photocopy the stamp, like the coupon you needed to send in, and send that in with your 50 cents? Like, a whole bunch of questions that went along with things. And Thomas doesn't remember all the answers to some of these things. But this is like a really fascinating history of that. It doesn't just go through how this happened, the feedback, like some of the quirky things, or like conventions that happened with it. But it also is really cool because it presents all the stamps themselves. It's not just art of the stamps. It's actually the pages the stamps went on, which means the double page spreads with the UK magazine, but even cooler, that means the letter columns, the letter pages in the US version of this. So you get not just the cool art for the stamps, you get to see the booklets and all that, but you also get to see letter pages, some of these very hard to find from that time. To me, this is like a cool piece of history, not just because of Thomas's introduction to all of this and going through the process and the thought and kind of how it went through, the offices and how it was put together and all that. But to me, the actual presentation of the stamps themselves, I was about to say the stamps themselves, is, I think, just really, really, really cool. I mean, it's like an extra bonus that I'd say, I don't know if it was necessarily done that way on purpose, but like bonus. So check out the stamps themselves. So these are some of the UK, that's the UK stamps. But then you go into, so this is like a page from the UK one. A little bit different. It's a 2-page spread. You get the stamp, you have to cut it out. And then you get to the US stuff. And now we'll get to that in a minute. But like, this is a US one. They show the covers that these appeared on, and then you get the letter page, and then the stamp in the corner where they appeared. And now what's interesting is, like, I know of the stamps. I feel like I might have some comics with the stamps in my collection. I'm not 100% sure on that. I really need to go through and just organize a collection to be able to go and do that. But I think just really, really cool. This is like such a neat piece of history. And then this is the second round. This is Series B in the US. The Series B, what got more interesting is because it wasn't just stamps you had to collect, but you actually, each kind of grouping of stamps created an image. So you needed to get, I think, like 10 stamps to then create the image, or something like that. It was like 10 stamps, 9 stamps, whatever, to create the image, and then had to put the image together in the book. So it was like a jigsaw puzzle plus stamp collecting combined, which is actually kind of cool. And it reminds me of the Marvel Fleer cards. I think it was Fleer that did this, where you get like a part of the image of something. You had to collect all the cards, and of course it was 9 cards because 9 on the sheet, and then it created the image in the back, which I thought it just reminded me of that. But other things I think is really neat. There's something that's awesome. It's a small detail in this book that I think really stands out. Is, I don't know how well it comes off, but you might see colors on this. There's blue, there's yellow, and there's a little pink. That is each of the different takes on this. So like, pink is the UK, yellow is Series A, blue is Series B. And it makes it way easier to just kind of flip through and go directly to that era. So overall, I mean, this is such a cool piece of history. Like, this really does a lot of cool stuff. You know, it's not just the stamps that I think it celebrates, but in a way it also celebrates the letter columns that those stamps were published on. And I mean, it's a trip to go back and read some of this. Like, I'm not gonna dig stuff out, but it's really kind of cool to see letters from so many years ago. And again, some of these is just things that you you might not find anymore. Like, it's just hard to get comics or just pieces of history. So this, I think, is just amazing in multiple ways. Really, really cool stuff. Definitely for fans of Marvel comics collecting, just the history that Thomas goes through, I think is really interesting and cool. So this is out. You can go get this in comic shops. Bookshops is coming soon. But go hit up your comic shop. We got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. It'll tell the comic shops near you. No shop, no problem. We do have some links where you can purchase your own. There'll be affiliate links, so we would get a small percentage. By doing that, you support our site. So thank you. And speaking of support, I want to thank Abrams Comic Arts for hooking us up with this book, Abrams Comic Books. And of course, thank you all for watching. And yeah, I mean, if you are into Marvel, if you're into comics, graphic novels, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, all Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.